Hey everyone, good evening, Dr. Tiffany. How are you? Thank you for joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Joe Fazio, and you are on Patch Like a Champion today, Patch Like a Champion Monday. I am not a doctor, though I play one on TV. Just kidding. I'm an executive director with Lifewave. I'm also a former graduate of the University of Notre Dame. I went to their business school there, and I was blessed and fortunate to play 4 years for the Fighting Irish. And it's really been a joy to share this good news of this particular medical device we are wearing called X39. Before we get started with this program, because it's going to be a good one, I just want to let everybody know that we are praying for the families in Texas. Such a tragedy, and God is a God of mercy, and He can heal that brokenness. And I'm reminded of Romans 8:28, where He can cause all things to work for good. So a lot of times we don't understand why bad things happen, but we believe that God's going to work it for good. So I'm grateful to be able to partner with Dr. Tiffany. Dr. Tiffany, you're a doctor of naturopathy. If you wouldn't mind, just quick introduction, and what intrigued you about X39 that caused you to include it as part of your regimen and your business?
Thank you so much, Joe. It's such a great opportunity to be with you. So yes, I am Dr. Tiffany, and I am a doctor of naturopathy, which is a traditional naturopath. Our focus as naturopaths is to look at the root cause, or to find the root cause, because symptoms are always a sign of something deeper going on. So we want to figure out what the root is. And then one of my specialties is helping the body be able to detoxify correctly. And there's a wrong way and a right way to detoxification, so we do it the right way. So that's kind of what I do, and why. Man, if I had to list the things that intrigued me about X39, we'd be here all night, because this little patch is amazing, especially in my practice. One thing that I will say that really intrigues me about this, and why I share it with my clients, is because I love that David Schmidt talks about how it increases glutathione levels by 30%. And glutathione is a master antioxidant that helps clean the cells out. And so as a detoxification specialist, glutathione is really important. And the fact that you can stick it on your skin is just even better, because it doesn't have to go through the digestive system.
Simple daily lifestyle. Yeah, That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I got involved in this, dear friend of mine, Carl and Kathy Firestone, approached me a couple of years ago, and I politely told them no 3 times. Then I saw on their social media page a family, and the woman had an autoimmune condition that affected the central nervous system. And that got my attention, because my younger sister, Jennifer, in North Carolina, has the same condition. So it's interesting that I rejected this program, and then I saw a testimonial of a health condition whereby this particular non-transdermal product gave that woman significant range of motion improvement. I quickly called Carl. I said, "You've got my attention now. Let's move forward with this program." Now, I'm a former tight end for Notre Dame. I've been in a lot of collisions in my life. I would have to see a chiropractor at least once every 6 weeks for that pinching sensation that starts in my lower back, goes all the way down my glutes to the back of my knee. I had that for a good 30 to 35 years. It would not let up. I'd go get an adjustment. It would feel better for maybe a couple of days, and then that pinching sensation would come back. Well, guys, I put this patch on 21 days later. No exaggeration. On the 22nd day, I woke up, that pinching sensation was gone. I thought it was a fluke. I thought it was coming back. That was 2 years ago. It's never come back. So grateful for this product. So grateful that I got that nudge from the Holy Spirit to finally say yes to this opportunity. We're going to go ahead and share a couple of slides with you today. And again, you are on Patch Like a Champion Monday. We do this every Monday night. And again, I'm blessed and honored to have my dear friend, Dr. Tiffany, joining me. Let me go ahead and put this in presentation mode, and we'll go ahead and get started. So this is a 20-year-old company, Lifewave. This is not a startup. I know that everybody who is going to evaluate this for the first time is probably going to be a little bit skeptical, because if it's not drugs, needles, over-the-counter, pharmaceutical surgery, you're not really used to what we're going to be talking about today. But first, if you wouldn't mind, Dr. Tiffany, talk to us about the disclaimer.
Yeah, well, the statements of Lifewave and things that we're going to be talking about tonight, the Lifewave products, the websites, and associated materials, they're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or medical condition. So you always want to consult with your physician or qualified care provider when you're embarking on any kind of new treatment, diet, fitness program. And also, as we get into the amazing opportunity, we don't make any income claims. So that's our disclaimer for the evening.
Absolutely. Thank you. So listen, I think you'll agree with this statement, this slide. You can have 100 problems in your life until you have a health problem. Then it becomes your only problem. Suddenly, the things that used to stress you, money, relationships, deadlines, things around the house, that's going to feel insignificant. Without your health, even the best things in life lose their meaning. Health isn't just a small part of your life, it's absolutely everything. Because if you don't make time for your wellness, you're going to be forced to make time for your illness, and that's no fun at all. I'm really proud of the fact that I told a few former players who told a few former players, and now at the University of Notre Dame, though they do not endorse this product, there are 66 personnel, a lot of former players, now wearing this patch. One of them is a superstar track and field athlete. She's about to turn pro. She is now wearing this patch. So this just tickles me. This number goes up just about every week, and it's been a joy to share this. Here are some of my friends who are wearing the patch. Why? Because they're nursing old injuries. They might be limping. They might be sore. And photobiomodulation, which we're going to be talking about, is proven to reactivate and repair stem cells to a more youthful stage. On the left, you've got Rocky Blyer, Big Mike McCoy, Joe Fazio, one of the most brutal and ugly bone breaks you've ever seen, if you remember what I'm talking about. Chris Zorich from the Chicago Bears and All-Pro center with the Kansas City Chiefs, Tim Grunhard. All of these gentlemen love the way they feel on this product. They would not associate their name with a product that is sketchy, unproven, or something that is still being worked on in a laboratory. They just wouldn't do it. In addition, Stanford University, I don't know if you know this, but last summer they put 59 athletes on the Summer Olympics. This is the most best kept secret. It's a performance advantage. Of course, they're not going to tell their competition about it, but there is no other college or university in the history of the Olympics that put more athletes on the Olympic team. Guess what they're wearing? They're wearing the Lifewave patches. We know that for a fact. So this is really interesting. If you're familiar with the manufacturing world, ISO 9000 is a qualification for the manufacturing world. However, Lifewave patches are ISO 13485, which is the medical device industry's quality standard for quality management. The patches are not a transdermal infusion system. That is, they do not transmit any chemical components into the body, but that certification is absolutely gigantic. It's very difficult to qualify to become ISO 13485. Guys, we are onto a significant product that is considered a medical device. Here's the patent. This is what gave me more credibility to say yes to this program. It carries a U.S. patent. I'll draw your attention to the abstract, which says wearable phototherapy apparatus that produces beneficial effects to the human body, such as activation of stem cells, improvement of strength, improvement of stamina, pain relief via a non-transdermal container, increases copper peptide. We're going to be talking about GHKCU here in a moment. This non-transdermal apparatus reflects or emits a specific wavelength of light to elevate levels of the copper peptide GHKCU. Take note of that. Remember that. That's huge, and what it does to elevate your dormant stem cells to come back to life. Dr. Tiffany?
All right, and here's one of my most favorite inventors, I want to call him Doctor. He did get an honorarium, right? A doctor's honorarium. So I guess it's due. So David Schmidt, he's our inventor and our CEO of X39. He now has 200 patents. I tried to get one time, and wow, that's a process. So 200 is pretty fantastic. He's a scientist, an inventor. He specializes in age reversing. And in 2008, he started focusing on stem cell research, which is a fascinating topic that I love so much. And then it took him 10 years for the X39. He did 10 years of research to get it patented, and then $4.5 million to bring the X39 to market.
Wow. Talk a little bit about pharmakeia, because, whenever I read that in the Bible, Dr. Tiffany, it's never a good thing. What is your take on pharmakeia?
Yeah, I sometimes look at those first few letters with the pharma, and I'm very cautious about when pharma is advertising something, because in Revelation 18, it talks about how all nations are led astray. And so there's just things that you need to be careful. And the best way for you to not be deceived is to know truth and know things, and look into things a little bit more deep. And Joe, you always talk about the sign here, so that the medical sign with the snakes and stuff. Joe loves bringing that point up.
I think it's bizarre that the logo or branding for pharmacy is a double-headed snake. Think about that for a minute or two. It's kind of strange. Talk about the facts of the pharmaceutical industry, Dr. Tiffany.
Yeah, so the pharmaceutical industry does not create cures. And really, if you think about it, pharmaceuticals are just a synthetic version of God's original intent. You can't patent God's original intent. And so that's kind of what they do. They take God's original intent and they patent it, they strip it, and put it into a little pill or an injection. And so no pharmaceutical drug is going to solve the chronic disease and epidemic. And so we just keep adding pills, but we're not getting to the core of what's causing the disease. And so the biggest obstacle keeping Americans from living healthier lives is the lack of motivation to make change. And that is so true. And
you help them make changes in their diet and other areas, not just medicines, right?
Yes, I do. I try to do my best to make it in bite-sized pieces so that people don't get overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And I just love it because the small steps actually work.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to resonate with this little slide when the pharmaceutical commercial is done listing all of the possible side effects. It almost makes that new drug that they're advertising more dangerous than the condition or chronic issue you're dealing with. Case in point, Dr. Tiffany, let's talk about Lipitor.
Yeah, so this is one of the top statin drugs. You might have seen commercials for it. You probably know a loved one that is on this. I'm sure that you know what nutrient deficiencies are that pharmaceutical could be leading to, and then the possible side effects. And so Lipitor is the nutrient depletion that it causes is copper, magnesium, potassium, zinc, CoQ10, and selenium. And if you notice, magnesium and potassium are part of the electrolytes. So, so many things in our body need these core nutrients. And so the side effects of this one particular, well, we're going to look at a longer list here just a second, but the side effect of some of the side effects are potential damage to the musculoskeleton system, the elevated risk of diabetes, and mental decline. And so, and these are some of the studies listed here. Joe, if you want to go to that next slide.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Look at the documented side effects of Lipitor, people.
Yeah. And you know what? Pfizer, who is the creator of this drug helped them make $130 billion.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're not telling you what to do. We're not your doctor. We cannot make any medical recommendations, but we're simply trying to bring education to the world because I think people need to see that Big Pharma is not your friend.
Right.
Now, I saw this statement a couple years ago from the New England Journal of Medicine. They said that the number one indicator of wellness is directly correlated with the number of stem cells in the bloodstream. That to me was very fascinating because I thought to myself, how would I get more stem cells into my bloodstream? Well, I can go get an injection or a transfusion of stem cells. Number one, it's super expensive, anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000. Keep in mind, this patch right here is only $3.37. You may have to travel internationally to get a stem cell injection. It's just restricted to that area of the body. They don't travel anywhere else. It doesn't last very long. It's not a guaranteed service. You may have to go back and do it again for that much more money. It's potentially dangerous. I have a cousin who is a medical doctor. She's an eye surgeon. And she said it's very, very risky to now these days to take a stem cell injection because you don't know where the source came from. However, if someone does have a stem cell injection that they should absolutely wear X39 because it's going to keep those stem cells active longer. Dr. Tiffany, is every cell in our body, did it start out as a stem cell?
It sure did. And look at what happens when the different things that when we activate stem cells or you get stem cell injections, what we were just talking about. I mean, look at all of these things that can do, and this is not an exhaustive list either. So yes, we started as a stem cell and our stem cells can become any cell in the body that needs healing.
Ladies and gentlemen, every condition that you see on this slide, we are not making a medical claim, but I bet I have a testimonial video related to each and every one of these conditions because of the X39 stem cell activation patch. Pretty darn extraordinary. So, the fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age, and the slower you heal, right? At age 30, no health practitioner or doctor is going to tell you this, but at age 30, only half of your stem cells are active. Imagine that. By the time you turn 60, I surpassed that last year, almost all of the stem cells in your body have gone dormant. They're not very active. So think about a youngster, 6 or 7-year-old scrapes their arm or fractures a bone. That heals very rapidly. Conversely, a 70 or 80-year-old individual fractures a bone, it's going to take a very long time to heal, if ever. It may not ever heal. So that's really what's going on here. You have your own stem cells. They've gone to sleep. So I want to introduce you to Dr. Laurent Picard. He's the father of research of that human peptide called GHKCU. CU stands for copper. And he studied this. You could read white paper after white paper after white paper. GHK is proven to return genes to a younger, healthier state. So let's talk a little bit deeper about GHK.
Yes, so the GHK copper peptide is a tripeptide of these different amino acids. And one thing that I love about these peptides is how it reduces inflammation. You know, inflammation is the source of all chronic disease. And so the less inflammation you have, the more healed your body can be. So I love how glycine, it helps protect against breathing issues. And you've got histidine with poor cognition and memory. And then lysine helping protect against anemia, among other things. But these are some of the really important keys that we have right here with the GHK CU copper peptide.
Who do you know is having seizures, right?
Right.
Regardless of the health or medical condition, you know, people ask us all the time, will it help this condition? Will it help that disease? We can't say, but it's absolutely worth trying. I promise you it's way better than going on more pharmaceutical drugs. So here's how the patch technology works. X39 is made up of organic crystals, amino acids, salt, sugar, oxygen, and it forms a perfect lattice structure in the center of the patch. That's what David Schmidt patented. That lattice structure is a reflector of light. It's like a sophisticated mirror. Well, whose light is it reflecting? It's reflecting your own light. You see, our bodies radiate a low-grade infrared light. We know this to be true because people use night vision goggles. I know there's some former military guys on this call, and you probably use night vision goggles in the pitch black of night to see human bodies moving. Thus, the reason we know it to be true that everyone's body has low-level infrared light and heat on the inside of it. So when you place this patch on your body, it's reflecting back your own light to make a change in your body, and that's the process by which we call photobiomodulation, light-making change in your body, and this light works fast to turn old cells young again. You see, God designed our bodies with low-level infrared light and heat, okay? So Genesis 1:3, God said, let there be light, and there was light, not only in space and in the atmosphere, but also on the inside of our bodies. And David Schmidt leveraged that light as the power source for X39. Absolutely brilliant, brilliant technology. Lifewave is unique because it's the only phototherapy product in the world that uses the human body as its own power source. Guys, this is like walking around with a red lamp on your body all day long, except red lamps can be upwards of $50,000 to $100,000 for red light therapy. So how does it work, Dr. Tiffany?
So it's a proprietary form of phototherapy.
And it's patented nanocrystal technology. It reflects the light to activate.
Nano just means small. Are we back?
You're back.
Reflects the light to activate. It's non-transdermal, so nothing is going in through the skin like a birth control patch or a nicotine patch. So it's non-transdermal, no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants, and it's non-invasive.
Amen. Amen. So I love this analogy. X39 is like, again, we're not making a medical claim, we're just making a comparison. X39 is like healing without pharmaceuticals instead of pharmaceuticals without healing. Think about some of your loved ones who have been on the same drug for 25 or 30 years. Why are they still on it? The answer is because the pharmaceutical industry does not create cures. They create long-term customers. Bingo. So how do you wear it, Dr. Tiffany?
So you wear the patch for 12 hours. You can see on the body there's a point on the stomach and then behind the neck. So those are where all the case studies have been done. So you can pick one of those two spots if that's where you would like to wear it. So you're going to wear it 12 hours on and 12 hours off. So you wake up in the morning, you put your patch on, and then you start hydrating because it's very important to be hydrated, especially if the body is trying to detoxify. You need hydration so the toxins can come out because the X39, again, it increases your glutathione levels, which is a great thing. And so want to make sure you're hydrated during the process. So when you go to bed at night, you take it off, throw it away. You get your great night's rest that the X39 is going to give you. You wake up in the morning and you put another patch on. Now you can, I put them where my supplements are, or you can put them by Joe, I think I've heard Joe say they put them by their toothbrush. So just wherever it's going to remind you to put a new one on every day and then take it off at night before bed.
Yes, perfect. And ladies and gentlemen, where possible, add a good quality electrolyte, maybe a no sugar electrolyte to your water. That's designed to give the patches a boost in what they were made to do inside your body. So David Schmidt recommends wearing X39 for a minimum of 1 month for every decade of your age, okay? So if I'm 60 years old, I want to make a 6-month commitment to get the minimum benefit from this stem cell reactivation. I blew that away. I'm on my 25th month, and guess what? I've never taken this patch off. Why? Because I continue to get more benefits. I feel like I'm 28 years old right now. And it sounds funny, but it's not an exaggeration. I still feel like I could play college football, even though I'm in my 60s. I have zero inflammation or pain in my body. It's just the coolest thing. So, long-term effects, Dr. Tiffany?
All right, so per the case studies, which you can go to thisisit.info.com and actually review this information yourself, but within the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset themselves. So if you think about resveratrol, which is like your grapes or your wine, those reset 2 genes. So 4,000 genes within the first few days. With wearing the X39. Within 6 weeks, your brain becomes balanced. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased. I personally ditched my collagen at three months, because the collagen protein that I was using, because I didn't need it anymore. So that's extra money I can put towards buying more patches, which I love. Within 6 months, the heart begins to reverse in age. And we love what David Schmidt had to say. It's not anti-aging, it's age reversing.
Amen. Amen. Let's talk a little bit deeper about collagen, because it is the shock absorber. It's what holds all of your joints and bones together. What's the deal with collagen, Dr. Tiffany?
Yeah, so this study is pretty fascinating. It shows us that our natural collagen production decreases by 1 to 1.5% per year, starting in our mid-20s. So that's where your formation of wrinkles, fine lines, sagging skin.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, my wife, her hair was falling out in clumps, not just a couple strands at a time. It was coming out in clumps. 3 months on X39, it came to a screeching halt. My dentist asked me, what am I doing differently with my oral care? And I said, why are you asking me that? She said, because your gums have closed up around your teeth. That was a pretty cool benefit. So that's the result of collagen elevating your own collagen. So you don't have to take a supplement anymore from the natural food store. Is it a cow's collagen? Is it a chicken's collagen or something else? Why not elevate your own collagen?
Topography map. So this is so fascinating. So this participant was a 77-year-old woman. I've heard she was maybe a Pilates instructor or a yoga instructor. So someone who you would think is pretty healthy, right? So she, in the session 1, had no X39. Inflammation in her brain. The red is showing the inflammation. So you can see that it was a lack of brain coherence that was happening when she had no X39 on. So in session 2, that was 3 weeks later, on the X39, wearing it every single day, she had no more inflammation and she had improved brain coherence. Now look at session 3, 6 weeks later, after having the X39 on every single day, there was an absolute complete turnaround. I mean, I just love this. And the better brain coherence, and who doesn't need that, right?
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we like to show this because perhaps you're thinking of loved ones who have memory loss or neurodegeneration. This is a wonderful non-drug solution to bring about calmness and remove inflammation from the brain. As a former football player, I know a lot of guys that are struggling with side effects from concussions. One of them took it to the extreme and just couldn't handle it anymore. But it's a big deal, especially in the NFL, for guys that are struggling with head trauma. I promise you, X39 is a wonderful solution. It's going to calm things in the brain and bring them back to homeostasis. You see, the patch is not doing the healing. God designed this patch so that your body does the healing. Absolutely fascinating. So, increased benefits. I've experienced every single one of these. I'm stronger than ever. I have no more inflammation. I had an Achilles tendon. I thought it was going to pop. That inflammation and swelling went down within a couple, 3 months. My stamina is better than ever. My vitality and energy, my mental clarity. I do a lot of presentations during the day. I'm sharper than ever. My muscle and skeletal conditions are stronger than ever. I have a great sleep. I go into a deep REM sleep. I'm dreaming more vividly. It's really, really cool. And of course, we talked about the skin appearance as a result of elevating the collagen. This is a really cool statement. Pay special attention, Dr. Joseph Peck. He's a 40-year medical doctor specializing in anesthesiology, so he knows a thing or two about putting chemicals into the body. Dr. Joseph Peck came out in a conference, a live conference, and he said the X39 patch is the most significant medical breakthrough in his lifetime. Can you imagine a medical doctor with all the innovations and technology that have come over 40 years of innovating? And he says that this little sticker, the most significant medical breakthrough. Guys, what else do you need to hear? It's coming from a medical doctor. He went on to say that it would be criminal not to share it with your loved ones. So this product is very sophisticated. It is considered a medical device, and yet it's very simple to explain. The testimonials of X39 are life-changing and oftentimes emotional. The best thing about this product, X39, is it absolutely works, and you're about to hear how it has worked on our good friend Kim Steed from Texas. Kim, if you wouldn't mind, hit your video, unmic, talk a little bit about how you were introduced to it, how skeptical you were, and what has gone on in your body ever since. Kim Steed, welcome.
Back in June of 2023, I was actually rushed to the emergency room for something that they thought I was having a heart attack. So I go in and they find out that I wasn't having a heart attack, but what I had was some kind of a weird attack on my kidney, I had gallstones that my gallbladder was impacted with gallstones. I had my liver enzymes were extremely elevated, and so I was literally living off my adrenals for months, is what the doctor had told me. So they ran all kinds of tests. About 6 to 8 months went by, couldn't figure out what to do, couldn't figure out anything. And so I had a friend of mine call me. Her name is Hillary Hayes, and she's actually on the call with me. And she introduced me to the patch. She goes, I want you to try this. So I was like, okay, why not? You know, we've tried everything else, and nothing's helping me. So I also have an autoimmune disease. So the first day I put that patch on, I could feel a complete difference. And it was energy. I felt just something different. And it was just phenomenal for me, because even my autoimmune disease, it incapacitates me to where I can't function in a normal day. So literally I will be driving home from work and I'll have to pull over on the side of the road just to take a nap to make it home all the way. That's the type of autoimmune disease that I have. And so immediately with that energy, I could tell there was something with this. So about 2 months in, somebody had asked me about ringing in the ears. And I'm like, I have ringing in my ears. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, I don't. It's gone. And about 6 months, 5.5 to 6 months in, I didn't even realize this, but I quit going to the chiropractor for a 20-year-old injury from my collarbone being dislocated. And I would have to go every 3 weeks to the chiropractor just to deal with the pain that I was experiencing from that shoulder being dislocated. So 10 months in is when I found out, wait a minute, I'm not having that pain no more. And it hasn't returned since. And that was 5.5 to 6 months in. And 10 months in, I went back to the doctor to go ahead and be retested. The lesion on my kidney was reducing in size. All my gallstones had just dissolved. Not even passed. They just dissolved. And then my autoimmune disease is dormant. And my liver enzymes were completely normal back down. And so I know that this is working in my body, and I know that God has definitely, blessed David Schmidt and all of us with this technology that David Schmidt has created. And I know all the glory to God, because we would not be in this situation. I wouldn't be. I don't know where I would be at this point if this hadn't been created and I hadn't been introduced to this patch. And I will never stop wearing this patch because it is just amazing. I can only imagine what else is creating or fixing, because my stem cells are being reborn.
Oh, that's beautiful, Kim. Ladies and gentlemen, we told you some of the testimonials are emotional, and I can see the emotion in your voice. You are very, very grateful for this non-transdermal, non-drug product that has absolutely changed your life. So, Kim Steed, thank you so much. That was beautiful, dear. Appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a few more minutes and talk a little bit about ethical capitalism, and that would be the opportunity that is the Lifewave revenue generating opportunity. As I go through a couple more testimonials, hair growth before and after, pretty extreme. 6 weeks on the product, more hair growth, better color, and if you ask me, his skin condition, his age spots are fading. I apologize for the grossness of this toe, but this is a bone spur. Would not heal, it would callus over. This went on for over a year, and the podiatrist literally threatened amputation. This is my friend Jim, so this is not photoshopped. 6 weeks on X39. So talk about wound healing. If you know anybody that's got cracked skin, my mom, I grew up as a kid, my mom always had cracks in her skin. Boy, she could have used X39, but it's wonderful for wound healing. So let's talk a little bit about ethical capitalism. Lifewave is a 20-year-old company. We're in 82 different countries doing business. So if you know someone who knows someone over internationally, you could literally build a very large franchise operation that could take care of your family for many, many years to come. For the last 15 years or so, we were doing about 20 million in revenue. Then came X39. Then came the patent. And then came the massive amount of volume. We did 320 million 4 or 5 years ago. This year, we're going to do over $1 billion in sales. This is a very, very popular product because it's non-drugs. And if you ask me, people are fed up with big pharma, right? The WHO, the NIH, the FDA, your doctor. Don't you think they've lost credibility? Don't you think it's time to take things into your own hand as opposed to listening to people who are probably not telling you the truth? They simply want that greedy almighty dollar. So this is why I said yes to this program. Lifewave is the only part-time business opportunity that meets all of my criteria for a blue ocean strategy. What does that mean? You see that one hook in the water? We're patent protected. Nobody else, we have no competition. No one else can make a non-transdermal stem cell reactivation patch. And look at all the fish at the bottom. There's a lot of people out there that are super interested in this. Compare that to the red ocean strategy, and you know those companies, the cosmetics, the skincare, the lotions and the potions and the shakes and the nutraceuticals and the CBD and the oils and the candles, and all of those businesses are wonderful businesses, but it's a saturated market and it's what we call a Me Too product, meaning you can find it in Trader Joe's, Amazon, Whole Foods, Walmart, Costco, you name it. And there's not very much demand for it. So why not take advantage? Again, it's my opinion. I studied business for 40 years. This is the only one that's a blue ocean strategy. So if you're evaluating X39 to come on board as a brand partner, don't overthink this. This is by far the most rewarding thing I have ever done in my business life. The number one ranked company out of 6,000. Go to businessforhome.org. You'll see 6,000 other companies listed there. Lifewave is the number one ranked company. We're pretty proud of that. We continue to win the Bravo Award. Guys, there is no corporation. There's no company that grows at 3,000% over a 5-year period. We did that through a pandemic. Think about that. Lifewave is growing faster than any other company or home-based business in the world. So it's a double-barrel blessing. You've got a wonderful medical device, and you have a very, very lucrative financial opportunity. So I like to make this comparison between your job, if you have a job or you own a business, and Lifewave. With your job, your income depends on you. It uses your time in exchange for a paycheck. I was with a massage therapist who just came on board yesterday, and I said, if you stop massaging people, your income stops coming in. So she's got to work her tail off to keep doing massages to get more money. And guess what? There's only so many hours in the day. So again, your company dictates when you work. Compare that to Lifewave, which I call ethical capitalism. You build teams that can make money on their own. It's like a franchise opportunity, and you're leveraging yourself with other franchises on your team. It allows more time with my family and passive residual income. I went on vacation a couple months ago, and I became wealthier by being on vacation than I was if I was in my job at the time. You no longer work your life around your job. You now dictate when you work or when you talk to people. This, ladies and gentlemen, represents freedom. I promise you, this is the most freedom you will ever experience. If you've ever owned a traditional business or a franchise, you know that there are high startup costs. There's a lot of overhead. If you want to open another location, there's a lot more costs and overhead in doing that. There's high stress, there's high hours, time away from your family, expensive advertising, royalty fees, payroll, headaches with employees, morale with employees. If you've got a warehouse, you've got rent, insurance, utilities, maintenance, the list goes on and on. Complex bookkeeping, and to top it off, you've got skinny margins. Again, compare that to Lifewave. The company handles absolutely everything. It's a turnkey setup. They handle the patents, the manufacturing, the website, the marketing, the training, the shipping. You do not have to inventory anything in your home. It's coming directly from the warehouse to your brand partner, your friend, your customer. They handle a money-back guarantee. They also work with customer service. Customer service is super friendly, very professional. We get commissions every week. Every Tuesday morning, I get a direct deposit into my checking account. Super, super exciting on a Tuesday morning. Back office reporting, it's a sophisticated back office. It's very well organized. So there's a low entry fee. There's a nominal investment to come on board as a brand partner, but it does result in passive residual income with significant compounding growth. If you want to go deeper into how the business side works, get with the person who invited you to this Zoom. There are plenty of training videos that talk about how you can do this as a real life business. This is not a hobby. This is a business. One of the versions of the compensation plan is this one. It's called Team Commission. So what you're going to do is think about 4 people whom you love, and you may want to do this with in a business relationship. I thought of Rich and Jennifer, and I also thought of Ralph and Steve. So I quickly enrolled 2 people on my left, 2 people on my right. Simultaneously, I'm helping Rich and Ralph get their 2 people on their left, 2 people on their right, and it's exponentially snowballing and growing, and I'm ranking up through the company every time I do that, and the compensation just continues to grow. This caps out at $25,000 per week. And again, this is just one version of how we get paid. So it's super, super exciting. John D. Rockefeller stated that he would rather earn 1% off of 100 people's efforts than 100% off of my own efforts. Absolutely true statement, and I resonate very well with that. So here's how you can get involved. Again, get with the person who invited you. You can come in at the core level. If you just want to try the product, you're not really sold on this concept yet, you're going to get 3 sleeves of product for $295. If you do the math, about $99 per sleeve of product. Again, a sleeve is a 30-day supply, an envelope. If you're a business builder like I am and you're thinking, let's go big or go home, consider coming in at the premium level. You're going to get 20 sleeves of product. Let's face it, you're going to need inventory because you're going to be shouting this from the rooftops, and you're going to need product to lend to people as they come on and enroll at the premium level. You want to give them some product the very first day, and then when they get their FedEx in the mail, they return those sleeves back to you. So you are going to need a lot of product to hold on to in your home or your office. The middle package is called Advanced. If premium is a little bit too much for you at this point financially, we get that. But these 2 levels, Advanced and Premium, open you up to the maximum benefits as far as commissions and bonuses. Then you put the product on what we call auto ship. My wife Pamela, she gets a sleeve and I get a sleeve. It comes to our door every month, and that keeps us active in the program, and that maximizes our monthly and weekly commission. Okay? Again, there's a lot of videos explaining this program, or again, get with the person who invited you. 2 beautifully done websites. One is information only. It's called thisisitinfo.com. Thisisitinfo.com. It's going to show you double-blind case studies. The patent will be housed there. A few videos on the very homepage are wonderful. You've got to watch the 3rd and 4th video. They are spectacular. Then there's a team training site. It's called This Is It Team. If you want to learn how to build this as a side business, which could eventually overtake your full-time work like it's doing for me maybe in about a year, go to thisisitteam.com. Spend time on the tabs. How do you go manager? You can look at all the X39 Zoom events. There's a production just like this almost every night of the week except for Sundays. So again, you can tune in, you can invite friends. Really what you want to do is point people to these Zooms. Let us do the heavy lifting for you. You don't need to know everything about GHK and elevating peptides and all sorts of stuff. That will come over time, the more you hear it. So if you're tired of Western medicine like we are, over-the-counter drugs, needles, pharmaceutical, prescriptions, surgery, it's super expensive, and the side effects are also very, very risky. Try something different. Try something new, something that God helped design. Photobiomodulation, putting your body in homeostasis and allowing your body to heal itself. It's non-transdermal. It's non-invasive. It's patented. It carries a U.S. patent. It's safe. It's affordable, about $3.37 a day. So now's the time to make your move. You can start dreaming again. You can put pictures of Hawaii or that car that you've been dreaming of. You can put that back on your refrigerator again, because now with Lifewave, that can absolutely become a reality. It truly can. So get started. Get these patches on your body. Again, you're not investing in a business. You're simply investing in sleeves of patches that are absolutely going to change your body.